The Dershow.
Why Claudine Gay, by her own standards, should be resigning. Before she became president, she was dean of the faculty, a big admirer of the DEI. I usually say DEA because I confuse it with sometimes the Drug Enforcement Administration. DEI, the diversity, equity, and inclusion bureaucracy. She pushed that very hard. She was the dean of the faculty. And as such, she had a case that came before. It involved a professor named Ron Sullivan, a brilliant professor, great lawyer, who was the first, interestingly enough, Black dean, along with his wife, of a house at Harvard. Harvard has the house system. When you're a sophomore, junior, senior, you're in a house. And he was the dean. They used to call it the master, but you can't use the word master anymore. It's suggestive of slavery. So he was then the co-dean of Winthrop House. And he made the terrible mistake of taking the Sixth Amendment to the Constitution seriously. Harvey Weinstein, perhaps the most unpopular defendant in recent history after Jeffrey Epstein. I have a way of ending up defending the most unpopular defendants. In any event, Weinstein was pretty unpopular, and Ron Sullivan decided to help represent him, and he lasted about 1 month. That's all, just gave consultation services for a month. As a result of that, a group of students who were lying through their teeth complained and cried to the dean, "We're scared, we're frightened, we're afraid, we're in fear. We can't be in the same place as a lawyer who defends a rapist." The same lawyer had defended the end of the New England Patriots, who was charged with a double murder. They didn't have any fear. They weren't scared because their lawyer was defending a double murderer. But when it came to defending somebody who was accused of sexual assault, no, that scares us, that frightens us, and we don't think he should be the dean any longer. And the case came before Dean Gay, and she agreed with the students. And she basically said, look, there are two reasons that I have problems with Sullivan. She said, first of all, he didn't explain satisfactorily why he was defending this man, as if a lawyer has to explain why he follows the Sixth Amendment. And of course, she hasn't explained satisfactorily why she thinks calling for the genocide of Jews is a matter of context. She hasn't explained it. But the most important thing is she set a new standard. She said, a dean has a different role than a professor. A dean has to play a pastoral role, like a minister or a reverend, a pastoral role. And in that role, he has to make sure that his students feel safe. By that standard, she's the president. If a dean has to play a pastoral role, surely a president has to make the campus feel safe to all students. Well, we know for a fact that many Jewish students legitimately feel unsafe on the Harvard campus. A Jewish student was harassed and assaulted. The FBI is looking into it. Nothing from Harvard particularly about it. But when you compare the fear that Jewish students now feel when people are chanting, gas the Jews, genocide to the Jews from the river to the sea, Palestine will be free. Free of what? Free of Jews. Clean, make it clean, get rid of the dirty Jews. When you compare the fear, the legitimate fear that Jewish students have with the totally phony fear that these students at Winthrop House mendaciously claimed they fear. They didn't fear at all. They couldn't pass a lie detector test. They couldn't pass 2 minutes of cross-examination from me. They didn't fear anything. They just didn't like the fact that their dean was representing somebody they didn't like. Today, it's somebody accused of rape. Tomorrow, it could be somebody accused of another crime. Imagine how they would feel if John Adams was the master in those days, or the dean of Winthrop College, and he was defending the people accused of the Boston massacre. They would have been crying to the president, immediately. People forget that Harvard is older than the United States. Harvard was established in, I don't remember, 16. I spoke at its 300th anniversary. So probably 1667, probably something like that. In any event, Harvard's a very, very old place, and but you know, you're not going to be frightened if the dean of your house, in his spare time, in his part-time, and deans are allowed to do part-time legal work, is representing a man charged with rape, even if the person is completely guilty. He was presumed innocent at the time. There hadn't been a conviction, but the dean said, no, we're not going to follow the Sixth Amendment. We're not going to follow the Constitution. We're going to use our own rules, and our own rules. If the students feel unsafe, he has to be fired. Well, the students feel unsafe, President Gay, and they feel unsafe because of you.